Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Unwind Friday. It's your girl, Lissa Black, bringing you the heat with the little street.
And it's your girl, Marie, certified life and health coach, breathing you tools you can use. And we are Sisters
Sisters
Edify.
Edifying.
Somebody was
Welcome,
taking it
welcome, guys,
serious.
as always.
Yes.
Um, I think we both talking.
Yeah, we were both talking, but you can go ahead.
But yes, we got to do it the way we do it. As always, guys, we start with what we are unwinding with tonight. I am not even going to show you the bottle again because it is my classic, but I will show you my glass. It has my name on it. I got it from my girl Jackie. She made it for me. She got a business where she was personalizing items. So again, I am drinking my classic winter white wine from Michigan. What are you unwinding with,
Oh,
Marie?
you know what? I am unwinding with one of my favorites, and it's Shutter Home Sweet Red. If anybody ever had tried Shutter Home Sweet Red, it's the perfect amount of sweetness, not too bitter, and it's the right amount of percentage. It's 12%, and so it's like perfect to get you to that unwind. But like we said, you guys can unwind with tea, coffee, because sometimes I unwind with tea. I have my favorite tea, you guys. I'm going to share with you guys next week. You guys, I won't be here. I will be, what will I be here? Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you Thursday, I mean Tuesday, right? You think you'll be
yeah,
ready to come
Tuesday
back
I
on?
have surgery, you guys. I have surgery to get a cyst off my kidney, so pray for me. So hopefully I'll be feeling well enough to do Unwind Friday. Melissa, I was mixing up because I'm leaving. We're leaving Friday, Saturday for the concert. But yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll be here.
Oh,
So, you guys, let's get into it. Thank you guys for joining us for Unwind Friday. Our desire is to, have a safe place for us to unwind after a long week of work and just discuss topics people usually don't talk about, to have a safe place. Our desire is to edify and build up not only you, but building ourselves up together with you to become
yeah.
the best that we can be, to talk
Mhm.
about things that we may be in denial in so we can become a better person. And when I said that, I thought about a lot of things that I see on Facebook and in relationships and in friendships is self projection. So the
And
things I was,
parenting.
Mhm.
And in parenting.
And in parenting, So we're going to bring this to the front for it so we can address it, check ourselves, and become better. And that is
Mhm.
the psychology of projecting. So we're going to talk about 8 feelings we transfer into others that are not their feelings about us. It's our own internal unconscious feelings we have. And a lot of time we're in denial, or we haven't checked, or we haven't recognized it. So we accuse other people of these things. And they're like, because when people accuse me of things and I know I don't feel that way in my heart, friends or whatever, I'm like, I don't know what this person is talking about. I have been a good friend to you. I'm not a perfect friend. I'm not a perfect sister. I'm not a perfect mate, but I'm damn near
I'm
perfect
loyal.
friend.
No, I'm like,
I'm loyal, but I know
I'm
that the
loyal.
things, it's like when you know that the things that the people are accusing you of are not true, is because most of the time that's who they are.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. And we'll just get deeper into that. But I would like to start with the introduction. We don't like to do a lot of reading, but if we have to read some stuff, we will read it. And this right here, this part right I want to read because it just was really, when I did the research on projecting, it just was really y'all, I gotta stop. I'm a little conceited too, y'all. I just want to say, y'all, every time I put on lipstick, my eyelids like literally turn the color of the lipstick I put on. Can't wear eyeshadows because my stuff is delicate. But y'all see that? Like it literally like just light up here like I have on eyeshadow. That's because I'm fine, y'all. Well, okay, back to what we're talking about, projection.
Oh my gosh, really?
Oh yeah, and we're not together today because one of Melissa's children was under the weather. Like I said, even though she's feeling a little better today, but because I have surgery Tuesday, we didn't want to take the risk. so, so I'm gonna read our first part and then we'll get into it. So deep in recessions of our mind lurk many thoughts and feelings that we like to deny ever having. All of us have different deep thoughts that we never share with anybody, and
Mhm.
feelings. These desires and impulses are so offensive to the conscious part of the mind that it launches various psychological defense mechanisms to keep them out. One way it does this is by projecting these feelings onto other people for the most part, but also into events and objects in an attempt to internalize the problem. Psychological projection is a defense mechanism that occurs when conflict arises between your unconscious feelings and your conscious beliefs. In order to subdue this conflict, you attribute these feelings to someone or someone else. In other words, you transfer ownership of these troubling feelings and thoughts that you will have to something else, someone else, or object, but not you. You're in denial. You effectively trick yourself to believing that these undesirable qualities actually belong somewhere else, anywhere but as a part of you. This approach, few theorize, is a way for our minds to deal with aspects of our character that we consider to be flawed. Now, y'all know I have a degree in psychology, so I'm gonna talk about Feud. If I said his name, did I say his name right? Feud, Melissa.
What his name is Feud, you said?
Yeah, he's one of the the top psychologists
Oh
that
yeah.
theory.
Feud. Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Yeah, feud, whatever.
Feud.
Rather than admit to the flaw, we find a way to address it in a situation where it is free from personal connotation. By projecting these flaws, we can avoid having to consciously identify them, take ownership of them, and deal with them. Projecting emotions into others is something that we all do to some degree, and it has some psychological value. But as we'll discuss later, it also has drawbacks. There's no end to these type of feelings we can project into others. Whenever any internal conflict arises, there is always the temptation through unconscious to shift the troubling feelings elsewhere. The most upsetting we find the feeling, the greater the impulse, the project is to project it to someone else. But let's look at these examples, you guys. Now, the top 8 feelings that we transfer to others. We're going to go ahead and go to number 1.
Yes. So speaking on transferring and projecting, number one is attraction and arousal to someone other than your partner. This example is a classic example. Like for an example, Um, a husband or a wife who feels strongly a strong sense of attraction to a third party. So naturally, your um your your values, your inner values tell you that this is unacceptable. You're not supposed to feel this because you're supposed to be in a committed relationship with your partner, man or woman, woman or man, whatever it is. So when your values tell you this, your mind automatically looks for a way out. So what happens is they begin to project these feelings onto their spouses and started to make themselves believe it's okay for them to be feeling the way they're feeling because maybe their spouse is feeling the same way, or they are also being unfaithful. This blame is actually a mechanism of denial so that they do not have to deal with the guilty feeling about their wandering desires. So, this sort of projection in relationships can be a great deal of stress and strain on things because, of course, if you're going to, anybody ever blamed you for something and you know you didn't do or did not even think about, automatically you become defensive.
But
Automatically you upset. It's going to have strain, right?
And
You're
Melissa,
going
that's
to,
just like if you ever notice like a person who's in a relationship with somebody that's a cheater, they always
mm-hmm,
accuse the person that's not cheating of being just like them because they only see from their own perspective. So if you're a
right,
cheater, you automatically think everybody around you, your mate who can be 100% faithful is a cheater because you're a cheater. You're projecting who you are upon this person. And you see that a
right.
lot when you have narcissistic people who have traits like they're thieves, stealer, thieves or cheaters and things like that, they automatically accuse other people of being who they are.
Exactly, because most times you see things from, like she said, your perspective and who you are as a person. And that other person may not have ever even thought about it because that's not who they are. But naturally, when you are accused of something, you're going to defend yourself and you may do so adamantly, like, hey, no, absolutely not. I would never. And that automatically is going to breed a ground for mistrust and poor communication as well as doubt, because no longer you're feeling confident. Because and then sometimes some of us, even though we know we are innocent, we get to a point where we're like, well, we may as well. I'm being accused of it anyway. Well, and now you have an entire thing that developed over somebody else projecting them onto you or onto their partner. So be careful of projecting yourself onto your partner or even your thoughts, even if they're just thoughts. You cannot assume what a person is thinking or doing. It is always better to communicate, get those feelings out there, and just kind of see where things go.
True, true. I agree. And we're going to go on to number two of projection. And that's body image issues. So usually if a person look in the mirror and they have body image issues or something like that, they can project that onto somebody else is having that same thing, or accuse that person. Say if they say that they're overeater and they see somebody else eating, they can accuse another person of overeating because that's who they are. Or they can accuse another person of being jealous or something because they have some type of some body image issues that they're dealing
Mhm.
with. So like if you might not even be fat and you feel fat, then you call other people fat. Like, oh, you're fat, or you're gonna get fat from that because you're
Yeah.
projecting how you feel internally.
Or finding
Some
someone heavier than you that you know heavier
yes.
than you and saying, oh, I look like that person. So people can, go, no, you don't. Oh, you look good. Or, getting those compliments or things like that. Those type of projections as well.
Exactly. Like, for example, you may criticize someone for being greedy at the dinner table or wearing unflattering clothing in order to hide your own insecurities regarding these things. So, usually, when somebody's insecure about something, they get down on other people because they can't wear it or something. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't do it. So, they try to make another person feel bad about it when in reality, they really want to do it. They
Right.
really wish that I can wear that. They really wish that my body was like that, this and that. And a lot of people do this to their kids. That's sad. So like if you have a parent that's been fighting with obese or have a fear of obesity, they'll put these insecurities and these projections off on their kids and just cause their kids to have like a miserable life and suffer with body image and depression because of how they felt when that kid was living perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, again, like you said, even body imaging. Also, number three, disliking someone.
Yes.
Guys, I just feel like this one is perfect for me to explain just because I always find myself in these awkward situations and I can't figure it out. I'm like, what is it? Is it something I'm doing wrong? But disliking someone, when we are younger, we tend to get along with everyone. And this desire remains a part of us as we grow older. So naturally, I know a lot of people say, well, sometimes we don't change. We kind of have our personalities. We have those people who are super friendly, they get along with everyone, and as they grow older, they still have that. I'm one of those people. Whatever you look like, whatever background you're from, we can find something in common. We can have a great time. But then there are some people who are not like that. They are less friendly. They don't want to be around people. They often withdraw or by themselves, and that follows them as well. So, with this in mind, it comes as no surprise that it follows you to your adulthood. We find ourselves disliking someone, so we seek to project our feelings onto them. So if we dislike somebody, naturally people start projecting their feelings onto that person. And that way they justify not liking that person and start to make it feel like that person is not liking them.
Mm-hmm.
So an example of that is like to put it another way, if you dislike Joe, but we're not willing to consciously admit this, you might convince yourself that Joe is the one that disliked you. That's kind of what I was saying. You are in a situation, these people, they find any reason not to like you. Sometimes they may not even know why they don't like you. And it could be that projection of like body imaging and all those other different
Or your
things.
or
Or
your strengths, or you doing something that they
yes,
wanted to do and they haven't, or
and
completing something that they haven't completed and you have.
yes. Or they feel like you have something that they don't have. So then they start disliking you for that. And then they start finding and searching for things to justify that. So then they decide, well, she don't like me. So now it's okay that I don't like her because
Yeah.
she didn't like me or he didn't like me. So we would protect ourselves against feeling bad or disliking someone, no matter what your reasons are. Because let's face it, if you really say what you dislike about Joe, if you really try to say what you dislike about a person and you can't figure out exactly what it is,
Hmm.
most times we are projecting. Because if you really sat down and say, why don't I like that person? They never did anything to me. They never was disrespectful to me. They were always welcoming to me. What what is it that I don't like about him? Oh, I don't like his attitude. Or oh, I don't like this because he said this to me, or he seemed like he don't like me. That is a projection. So keep
Absolutely.
that in mind.
Yes, Melissa, and a lot of people are in denial because they don't want to think I'm the person who don't like this person because
Yeah.
I'm real. I'm real. I ain't fake. I ain't this. I ain't that. But in
I ain't no
reality,
hater. I
I'm
but
not no
sometimes
hater.
you be
I'm not this and
like,
that. When reality, it's them. Because if a person has always been good to you, been a good friend to you, been a good sister to you, been a good husband, wife to you, and you still find reasons to not like them, and even though you search through and you find all these good qualities they have been to you, and you have to pick nit why this person might not like you. It's you're projecting your inner feelings, and you need to check yourself and find out, why don't I like this person, and projecting like they don't like me. Because I'm very confused when a person acts like I'm doing something to them, when or acts like I feel a certain way about them when I totally don't feel that way about them. I don't
exactly.
want
And
to
I'm like,
feel hurt. I love them. I'm just being me. That is totally coming from you. That is a projection of who you are and how you feel about me, not how I feel about you.
exactly.
And if people don't want to really tap into that this is actually how you feel about a person and not how they feel about you. All the drama that you're creating is around you, how you
Exactly.
feel
And some
about
people
somebody. Because people, I be confused. Like, I absolutely don't feel that way. I think you're an awesome person. I absolutely love you. I love everything about you. I don't talk about you behind you. I don't do nothing. I don't know why you feel this way. It's because it's something in their heart that they have towards you, and they in denial because they have it toward, because they look at themselves as this unflawed person. I'm perfect. I'm good at everything I do. So they never have taken the time to check themselves.
yes, and then I find myself, and I ask other people, like, I'm like non-confrontational as possible. I don't like drama. I don't try to be in no drama. Like, I'll be trying to be welcoming and friendly and make everybody feel included as much as I can. And then I find these people that's like, or I hear things and it's like, what? Really? Because I never knew that, or I don't know where that's coming from. But again, now doing this research and understanding, it's just a projection of them. So now I know not to take it so personal because
Yeah.
that person is only reflecting how they feel about me.
Because when we was doing that research and reading it together, we was like, wow, this is deep. You know what
I'm
we
like, and I'm
already
like, man,
knew.
I've been to this so many times, and I've talked to my other friends, like, what is it? What is
Yeah.
it? Something I'm doing or something I'm not doing? Like, what is it? But again, that's just
But
a
I already
projection
had
of
a, you
them.
know what? I had a feeling. I always thought, like, before we researched and went deep into it, I always thought like this has nothing to do. I always would tell you, the way that person is feeling or this person's feeling has nothing to do with me. This has something to do with themselves. I always said that. But after like researching and studying, it's like, wow, like, check yourself. And it also enlightened us, but we'll get into that deeper. But comment, have you ever been accused of something by a friend of hurting them or doing something that you know you didn't, or having a feeling toward them that you know you don't, or even not even a friend, but a mate, your mate being accused of cheating or being
Yeah.
a cheater or something that you know that is not you? That's because they're projecting their selves on you.
Or you
Comment and
hear
let us
something crazy
know.
like, I like her because she don't like me. And you like, I don't even know that person. I never even thought about you. Pass hello. Like,
And that leads us to number 4. So number 4 talks about insecurities and vulnerability. So usually when somebody is insecure, they're vulnerable, So they automatically put up a defense mechanism, and they automatically go into projecting, So often, like, the example of that is a bully. So somebody who, like they said, hurt people. So a bully is somebody who will find somebody who has less than them or more scarier than them, and they will bully them because they're projecting off of their insecurities and what somebody else did to them. And another example of this is, so a person who worries that they are not smart enough will pick on the lack of, another person's confidence in order that, and target them. It's like any insecurity that they have, they project it off to somebody else. So if they have any a security not being far smart, they'll accuse somebody else that they're not smart, you're not smart, or insecurity about a not
Relationship statuses. Oh,
relationship
I don't have a man.
status.
Oh, but their relationship ain't perfect
They
either.
relationship
Or
bad. They'll just start projecting when people are insecure and vulnerability, they'll just project all of the negativity that they have in them off on somebody else, basically. That's what they will do. And it's just not a good thing to do. So if you find yourself being negative and toward a lot of people and losing friends, because I see a lot of people like, I don't care who I lose, I don't care this and that. You care, I care. I care if I lose. I'm not gonna fake and act like I don't care if
And
I
I
don't
found
have a
that out the
support
hard way because
system.
I feel like I was one of those people like it is
Yeah.
what it is. And then then I felt like I had disconnected with somebody that I had truly, truly
Yeah.
loved and cared about. Like, and it was more than one person. And I'm like, man, I do care. And then
Hmm.
I realized my way of dealing was not to deal. And then I'm like, you know what?
You had to check yourself.
Yeah, and then I had started realizing I started in order to justify that I was not going to figure out what was happening, or I started projecting like, well, maybe they don't care either. Oh, they haven't came back either, or they haven't said anything either, so maybe they don't care either. And that was an excuse that I was using because I was hurt and because I wasn't taking responsibility for me being hurt and me not figuring the situation out or the situations out, and I care. So I no longer say like I don't care, I don't need nobody, because the truth is, if you did not care, it wouldn't even be a
It
conversation.
wouldn't be on you. The truth is, if you did not care, you wouldn't mention it at all. You wouldn't make Facebook statuses. You just wouldn't do what you do if you did not care. People who don't care don't think about
It wouldn't
certain
exist to you. It wouldn't matter at all.
So people who don't
So
care, they don't care. They don't talk about it. They don't post about it. None of that. They just live their lives. So they just don't when you don't care. You don't think about it. You don't talk about it. But when it's fine, if you talking about a situation all the time or talking about what somebody did to you, what's supposed to done to you, how somebody feel about you, how people fake and this and that, you need to check yourself. And you do care. You need to check yourself because most likely it's you, especially if that person don't know what the hell you talking about. It's you. You need to check why you don't like that person and accusing them of not liking you or accusing them to hating on you or accusing them to doing you wrong. You need to check what you really don't like about that person. And they don't even have to know about it, but check it and fix it on your own.
yes, or leave that situation because honestly,
Or leave it. Don't even
one
talk
thing
about
I
it.
cannot stand is a ingenuine situation.
It's
You
hard.
absolutely do not have to deal with anybody. You know,
Yeah, that's true.
unless it's your children.
If you can't let it go, you are bothered. You know what? I don't know who
Dismiss
that is
it.
who's commenting. I need y'all to accept the stream yard so I can see your name when you comment in the group. Thank you for joining on Wine Friday. But in order when you're on Facebook, you have to accept like StreamYard, what's the name for us to see your name. Other than that, it just says Facebook user. So I'm gonna go to the group so I can see who that is
What
commenting.
they say, I didn't even see. Can I see this? I don't.
Oh, hey, Krista. Hi, Antoinette. Michael, our nephew Michael, all those guys who are watching. So yeah,
Yeah,
they commented on there. I can see it.
I
Um,
see. I see
I want to
now. I
I
was
want
able
to
to
I
see.
want to put this comment up there. Let me go to comment so everybody can see because this is true. Like right here, if you can't let it go, you are bothered. If it's something that you're thinking about and you keep talking about, you are bothered. No matter how many you tell yourself,
Living rent
I'm
free.
not bothered. You are bothered, and that is absolutely a fact. So we're going to go ahead and go to number 5. Go ahead, Melissa.
Number 5, anger. So, in an attempt to mask your anger, that may be raging on the inside of you, some people project the anger that they have. So, like for an instance, during an argument, You may try to harbor the anger that's already inside of you. So then you even try to project a cool exterior. You're saying to the other person, calm down, everything is all good. But inside you are raging.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may try to justify your actions. So then you start projecting your anger toward other people or different situations. So the situation may not even escalated the way it was, or it may not even have been a situation. But because you are angry in the inside for whatever reason you're angry about, it could be any of the four steps above or below, or different things that you begin to project your anger onto others. Oh, and then when you do that, you start taking different approaches toward things. You're not being rational, you angry, you lashing out at other people because you don't want to deal with whatever it is directly making you angry, whether
Oh,
that's a person or a situation.
Melissa, that's so true. Sometimes us as parents do that to our kids. We can have a rough day
Yes.
at work or a rough day with a sibling or a mate, and we project our anger off on our kids. They can come do something simple, and we explode on them, and they're confused,
They're
and
like,
we directed or we projected something that had nothing to do with them off on them. And as parents, we have to be okay. I have this new motto. I'm okay with apologize to my kids every day because I'm a parent in
"Mm,
progress.
I like that motto.
All right.
I like
So we project our anger, or we'll do it on a sibling because we have a lot of siblings. We do that a lot on each other. We can have
right. You
a
mad at
bad
one person
day,
and then you project to the other.
and
And
you come
then
crack a joke on me, and now I'm mad at you over something simple. Close friends do that. Can have a bad day, and you can do something that you. A perfect example is the cookie on the sheet. If
and
my sister watching, I love you, sister. Oh, I ain't gonna say her name, but tell it. That's a perfect example of projecting anger because she was stressed and going through a lot.
yeah, and I was surprised. 'Cause I'm like, I always say that. I even say it about me. But anyway, but that is like those
But you ain't even
examples
telling.
are
You
a great
gotta tell
example.
it. You gotta say what it was so they can know what we're
Oh, you
talking
want me
about.
to tell the story?
Yeah, we don't have to
Okay,
say the
guys.
name of the sister
So anytime something happens or somebody does something like in a joking way,
or
like
something that's
let's say
silly.
they didn't do something or they did something or made a mistake. I was at this time I would always say, "Well, you ain't the brightest cookie on the sheet," and and I would always say this. Like this is not the first time I said it. That wasn't the first time this sister had heard it. But in this instance, it was a lot going on. Her baby was kind of like moving around and just moving a lot of stuff. So that had added some frustration to the pot on top of whatever else was going on with other stressful situations. So when I said it to her, it hit a different nerve and she exploded and she was like, oh, this, like, you guys are, you're so fake and this, and that. And I was like, she just kind of went above and beyond. And then
But
when
when
I had
she,
talked to her, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead.
And and then when I talked to her later on, and I'm like, like what happened? She said, you know what? I just had a lot going on. I apologize because you do always say that, and I know you always say that. I don't know why I was so mad. And she like just probably because there was a lot going on, but I didn't take it personal because, like
But
I
the
said,
good
it was
thing
a
about it is she went home and she checked herself. She didn't make some people who are in denial and never check themselves, so they're always stay the victim when they project themselves onto other people. And
and,
so she went home and checked herself and was like, you know what? That's silly. My sister always says that. Why am I angry about that? And then she was able to apologize to all of us who she went off on because she realized like this ain't have nothing to do with y'all. The reason why I went up, I was already dealing with things prior to this, and I projected my anger onto you guys.
and that's what it's called. Basically, with the anger is shifting the blame in your mind. So you're no longer the reason for the conflict. And often when people do that, they, instead of being the attacker, they become the attacked. So then they present themselves as a victim. If they didn't do what she did when she went home and thought and checked herself and came back and said, hey, this, and that, people who don't do that, they often somehow project that anger and then they become the victims in the situation.
Mhm.
Well, I did this because they said that or they did that. and they oftentimes leave out a lot of the story and a lot of the background. So you have to be careful. And again, we want you guys to understand projection when it's happening, because oftentimes we find ourselves checking with ourselves. What did I do different than I normally do? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? When it's really not us, it's them projecting different situations onto what has happened in that moment.
Absolutely. And we're going to go to number six. Number six is irresponsible behavior. Let me tell y'all something. All of us have had irresponsible behavior. I am the queen of being irresponsible. I was born a rebellious child. I still fight in my relationship as a Christian because I just have such a rebellious spirit that I'm binding up and casting out. But I am, and so because I don't have, I gotta be careful because I teach all about words. I don't have a rebellious spirit anymore. But like I was saying, however, I ain't gonna say but because I don't want to cancel out. However, I am fighting rebellion. And because I'm fighting rebellion, I have some irresponsible behavior. So I
I'm
want
a
to make sure
rebel
I be clear.
myself. I'm like,
Yes.
if you say I can't, I can. I'm gonna figure out how I can. So I'm a rebel myself in that.
So irresponsible behavior, whether you having too much drinks or you just out doing something or just talking too much, like Irv Gotti, shut up. Like he destroyed, even though he's coming back up, he destroyed a lot of his business things because he didn't know how to control his impulses and how he say things. So his mouth, everybody who worked with him say he is genius, but his mouth. He's irresponsible. He talks too much. He does too much. He does too much. And y'all, I had to wait till this come back in, so I keep going. Like I said, Irv Gotti's irresponsible with his mouth, and so all his business. Y'all, I'm so frustrated, y'all. I pay for the highest, and then I still have these, so it irritates me. But sometimes, people to avoid feelings of remorse, we reject our irresponsibilities on others and criticize them for their actions. Sometimes we hone in on things to bear no relations to our own misdemeanors, but other times we scold people for doing precisely the things that we consider ourselves have done. So sometimes we project onto others, even our kids, like, we act like we project anger toward things that they do that's just like us. Or other people that just like, so it makes you a hypocrite. So it's like, as a
Mhm.
Christian, I try my best as a Christian not to criticize the kids for doing things that I did or projecting because I don't want them going down the road, but trying to do something in a loving way, because the only thing it does is push them away from you and they can't hear you anymore, and it makes you a hypocrite.
Absolutely.
So when
Absolutely.
we project our irresponsible behaviors onto other people by criticizing them, accusing them, or treating them bad, we shut them out for us ever being able to help them. And we become hypocrites. So we don't want to do that at all, you guys. Number seven.
Absolutely not. And number seven, failure, not in the way you think. So, oftentimes when we perceive ourselves that has failed at something, we begin to push success on others. What do you
Mhm.
mean, Melissa? If we failed at being an athlete, oftentimes we are going to push harder for our kids to go down that road and succeed because we did not. We want them to be what we could not be. And
Mhm.
oftentimes, sometimes we do it unconsciously. Sometimes we're like, well, I was a cheerleader. I want her to be a cheerleader. And when I was going through this, I said, wow. And sometimes we do it enthusiastically, unbearingly, or like overbearingly because we want our kids to have what we didn't have. Oftentimes, we try to make up for our childhood, our past, and we try to put these things onto our children. And when they're not happy or accepting of it, we become upset or we become over. So we're projecting our failures onto our kids in a way of wanting them to succeed at what we failed at. I went, when we were going through this earlier, Maria and I, and we were doing our research and talking through this, and I said, you know what? I found myself doing that, not only wanting to do that or not doing it yet, but wanting to do that with my daughter, because a lot of people don't know this, and I don't often, I share it with people close to me, but I used to want to be a cheerleader. I saw the cheerleaders. I saw their little skirts. It was the cutest thing in the world to me. So I tried out for cheerleading. But in my mind, it was get the job done. I'm doing the job, right? But I'm not smiling. So when it came down to it, they was like, you know what? You know the cheers, you know the steps, but we don't think you got the spirit. You don't smile. And I'm like, what? I don't smile. I ain't here to smile. I'm here to do this. So with my daughter, she's flipping, and if you're anybody who know my daughter, she's always flipping and twirling and splitting. And I'm like, yay, she could be a cheerleader because I could cheer, but I couldn't really do a good flip or a split. So I'm like, yeah, she gonna be a cheerleader. She gonna be that cheerleader I couldn't be. And then we had this conversation. I said, man, I'm gonna project onto my child that cheerleader that I wanted to be because and then I thought about it, I was like, man, I should have went pom pom because I'm a dancer, you know. But in that instance, like I said, and then when my niece was like, I want to do homecoming, I'm like, homecoming, all right. And, you know, and then she's like, well, I ain't gonna do it now. I'm like, oh man, but you can
Yeah, look,
project.
you didn't put too much pressure on me now.
Too much pressure. And I'm like, I seen your post. You gonna do homecoming? Like, she's like, wait a
Yeah,
minute. But yes,
and when we
projecting
both
onto our children.
when we was researching that, we both agreed. We both was able to recognize and check ourselves like, oh my goodness, I did that to my daughter also because I wasn't really good at math.
I want to do a still play when I'm just here.
Okay.
I'm just sitting here still like,
I'm coming back. So I did that with my
well, wait
daughter
for you to
with
come back,
math.
bud.
Yes, I'm so frustrated. I'm gonna call them tomorrow. But I did that too with my daughter with math. And because I wasn't good at math and I didn't try hard enough with it, when she came to me with difficulty, I'm like, you're just not trying hard enough. And she was like, I am trying hard, but I projected. So I projected that that I didn't work hard enough on my daughter when she was working hard. So it made it difficult for her. And after, going through my research with this, I actually owe her an apology, and
Yeah, and you know, and not to cut you off, but I seen something that says if you are struggling with something, never tell your kids because when you tell your kids, it plants a seed
yeah.
in
And
them
I always
that
said,
my
I was
mama
like, well,
couldn't, so
I
maybe
can't.
I can.
She used to get mad because you and daddy can't help me with that. I was like, but they got tutors. They got tutors that can help you. No, I can't help you with that. But I still projected I was a hypocrite in that area with her, and I can admit it. Like I'm one thing about me, I'm a person who's not ashamed to admit that I'm flawed and I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect friend. I'm not a perfect mother. I'm not a perfect wife. I'm just not. I'm
A
gonna have
perfect
flaws.
sister to
I'm
me.
not a
I'll
perfect
just play.
sister. I'm not a
Just
perfect
play.
sister, but I'm a good sister. I'm a good friend. I'm a
Yes,
good wife. I'm a good this.
period.
I'm not like because we got people out there that's like extremely evil. I'm not one of those. Let's
Exactly.
go to
So we
number
say
8.
that for number.
Okay.
You going on to number 8? All right, let's do it.
Achievements. So achievements is like a positive thing of projection that can be turned negative. So because we achieve something in life, we project that onto others that they can do the same. And if they don't, we get angry.
Oh, this is good for you. You are big on. I did it. Y'all could do it. I used to do this.
I am like you could do. I did. I went through this, doing this, and that. You can't, y'all. We cannot do that just because we made it through something. Carrying 10 kids on our back, walking through coals with barefoot, don't mean somebody else can do it. We cannot project because we were strong on another person because they may not be that strong. We just need to encourage and help them. We on this, and we do it a lot on our kids, our grown kids where we project on them. Oh, because like my daddy used to tell us, I walk 10 miles to school. Y'all can walk this, and it's like 0 below outside. That's not right, y'all. We just can't. project because I did it, you can do it. It's just not true. It's not rational thinking. And if we think about it and we think about the times we in, our kids haven't been through hard times like we've been through. Things are a lot easier for them. So they crumble. They crumble over something that's, more. I have to let Melissa back in, you guys. They crumble
Sorry.
under they crumble under stuff that we was able to make it through because they haven't dealt with it, and we should be blessed that they haven't had to deal with some of the trauma and the
Exactly.
hardships that we dealt with. And when they go
Exactly.
through things, that is hard for them because that is they normal. What we went through was our normal. So we can't tell them, oh girl, that's easy. Cause I went through this and that. They don't even know what you're talking about. They haven't never been through that. They
Marie,
hard times are their hard times, and our hard times was our hard times.
I can remember being tired after the club going to work. You was not having it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
used to be mad at her. Like, what? I used to go to the club and go right to work afterward. What do you mean you can't go
look,
out with
I
me?
ain't get no sleep. I ain't even trying to sleep. I'm like, look, I need to go to sleep.
What, girl? Like, yeah, it was a lot of, it's a lot of things and I got that. And sometimes it come down from generation to generation because your parents say things to you. Like my father, like, it's zero below. Y'all got two cars in the driveway. Give us a ride to school. I had to walk 10 miles. You was born through slavery times. Like, I wasn't. Like he was born in the 30s. They were still picking cotton in
Oh,
Mississippi
my
when he
gosh.
was born.
They were
Like,
not,
in 1930, Daddy was born like in
ma'am.
1930. What?
Ma'am, that's 100+ years after
I
it
don't
was
care. He was in
abolished.
Mississippi. They still treated black people pretty bad in
They
Mississippi
treated
in
them bad.
1930.
Yeah.
I don't care. You had to walk with your books and your desk on your head for 10 miles. This ain't 1930. It's 1990, and I need a ride to school because it's zero below outside, and I ain't got no gloves,
Girl.
no nothing. You ain't.
Girl.
At least y'all mamas probably knitted y'all some hats and gloves. Y'all ain't even trying to do
Wait,
that.
and what's crazy is like even us growing up in the same household, like we always joke and be like, y'all was poor, we wasn't.
That's
We
true
had
because
next tail.
the four older kids had a different experience than the three younger kids. So we can't
Absolutely.
project
So
we
yes,
can't project our achievements of how strong or some achievements we had off on somebody else because they can't do it or they can't do it in the manner or the time frame that we have done it. We have to look at the whole picture around it. No, they're not gonna be able to
absolutely.
make it through. We was forced to make it through what we had to make it through. You know what I'm saying? They use
Yes.
different tools to
Amazing,
make it through
amazing
what they
topic.
had.
I love it. I love it. So, guys, as always, I like to do a recap, as you, if you
But
will,
Melissa,
or
we
a
need to. So you
summary.
don't want to go through the problem first?
Oh yeah, you want to go to the
The
you want to
problem
go
with
to the
the problem with projection.
oh, go ahead, go to the problem of it.
So the problem with rejection is the element of psychology may appear to be effective in defending our minds against pain, but there are two fundamental problems that run counter. The first is the projection that makes us feel superior to everything else, you guys. Hold on a minute, guys. I have to go on here because that did not print like I wanted it to. So the element of psychology may appear to be effective in defending our minds against pain, but there are two fundamental problems that run counter to argument. The first is that projection makes us feel superior to everyone else because it allows us to overlook our own faults and inadequacies while simultaneously honing in on what we perceive to be imperfect in others. This can not only be the source of such conflict, but it gives us a false impression and false expectation of other people. We fail to see all the good in people because we are too busy examining their flaws. Y'all, we don't want to fail to see the others because of our own insecurities or projections that we see the good that they're.
Absolutely.
It'll tear up a good relationship. It'll tear up a good relationship as a man and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, and that's best friends, anything when we project our insecurities and don't check them
Absolutely.
and don't check our own flaws. The second
So
issue
love people for who they are.
and check yourself. If your friend don't know what you talk about, check yourself. It's you. If your friend say, no, I don't feel that way about you. No, I didn't. No, that's not what I meant. Then it's you. You're projecting, you know? The second issue with
Yeah.
protection as a defense mechanism is that it fails to address the underlying feelings themselves. As long as we continue to deny the existence of these feelings, there is no mechanism that can help us to tackle and overcome them. So if we can't accept that this might be us projecting, if we never address it, if we're always in desire, that's no way to fix it. So even if you cut those other friends or relationships because you say they fake or they this and they that, you're going to run into the same problem over and over
Ain't
again
wrong from
because you
you.
never ever check yourself and you can't run from you. I see people move out of town and everything. You can't run from you. You're going to run into the same
Mhm.
problem with the new people you meet because you never ever checked yourself. You are not
Absolutely.
perfect. So moving away from projection, did you want to do that or you want me to do it too? I do
You
it.
can do the movie.
Moving away from
I'm gonna
projection.
summarize everything. I'm gonna bring it all home
Okay, you're
for
gonna
you.
summarize. Well, I'll finish this. Moving away from projection. Projection can be a conscious thing, but most of the time it takes place below the surface and functions as an unconscious thing. So sometimes it might be difficult to identify as you because it's like a part of you. It's happening unconsciously until you really realize, like, I'm the problem. I like seeing the status when people say, I realize that I'm the problem. Before you can begin to tackle the underlying issues, you must first recognize when and how you might be projecting into others. While bringing your own awareness to the situation might help uncover some instances. Yeah, I didn't lost my place right here. It's not always easy to identify when you're projecting. These issues to the surface where they can be examined and finally dealt with. And so, guys, a psychotherapist, not a counselor. If you're dealing with problems where you feel like everybody fake, somebody doing something to you, and they like, no, I'm not. I'm not. I don't feel that way. I'm not doing this to you. I'm not doing this to you. It's you. You're projecting. Not a counselor, not a psychologist, a psychotherapist, you guys. And we have information. So betterhelp.com can get you in touch with psychotherapists and get you so you could talk to somebody. You don't want to lose your friendship. You don't want to live your life by yourself playing the victim like you're being attacked. Everybody jealous of you. Everybody a hater. Nobody cares for you. It's always me, me, me. Because if you're having this problem all the time with everybody, it's absolutely you projecting.
Absolutely.
Because
Great topic.
if you take your time to like if you take your time, Melissa, to like check, I always say check your thoughts. Check and see like what that person has been there for. If a person really felt that way about you, would they be around you? Would they do good things for you? Would they be there? Think about all the good this person had. Like, why would they want to hurt you? Why would this? Check and see why this person. If you have a rational reason why they want to hurt you, go with that. But if the good outweigh the bad, it's most likely that you're projecting. Now go ahead, Melissa. You can go ahead and go back over.
Absolutely. So, great. I had a great time discussing this topic. This was one of my favorite topics that we've done thus far. So for all of you guys who have joined us late, I want to apologize. We always want to be respectful of everybody's time. We went a little over the 30 minutes that we normally do today. Hope you are okay with that. But if you are just joining us, the topic tonight was the psychology of projection. 8 feelings we transfer onto others. Number one was going to be attraction to and arousal by someone other than your partner. So again, in that we talked about how people, because they desired another person or felt these feelings for another person, they decided to project that onto their partner, that maybe they're unfaithful, so not to deal with the guilt that they had on themselves. Number two, body image issues, whether that's I'm too skinny, I'm too fat, oh, I'm this. You project those onto others by finding someone who's bigger or smaller, or just picking on people who you feel like is less than or not as good as. Number three,
Melissa, go back over
huh?
number two again because we had a disruption. Today is
Number two was body image issues. Basically, when you look in that mirror, you don't like what you see, you begin to pick those things out on other people. Those are things you noticed because you felt like they were bigger or smaller or whatever it was. Number three, disliking someone. Again, we just talked about projecting because, oh, I don't like them. You don't have a real reason why you don't like them. So you decide maybe they don't like me either. Number four, insecurity and vulnerability. Number five, anger. Number six was irresponsible behavior. Number seven was failure. And when we say failure, failure in a sense of something you did not succeed at. So you want to project success onto your children by forcing them into something that they're probably not even interested in. And last but not least was number eight, achievements. Um, and then Marie went over the problem with projection. So, as always, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, we always say if you have a topic or something you want to discuss, please drop it in the comments or inbox myself or Marie.
I
We will
not
do the
only wait
research
a minute,
for you.
Melissa. I know I only went over the problem, but how to move away from projections.
Yes, and how
And
to
so
move away
before
from
we
that
go, Melissa,
projection.
I know we went over, but I just, I'm having for internet problems, so you keep pausing. I don't know how much there still can hear, but I have. Before we go, I just want to go over 5 ways to move away from projection. Before we just end it, Melissa, is that
Got
okay?
it.
You got it.
You ask the audience. I'm good.
The audience is okay with it. They okay with it. They okay with
Go
it.
for it.
So, okay, 5 ways to stop projecting. Talk to someone who understands. We gave you the number to betterhelp.com. See a therapist, increase your awareness. Check yourself. Check yourself. Is this true? It's important to talk to yourself in counseling and coaching and everything. We always encourage the clients to check themselves and to think, is this thought true? Why would this chart be true? Check it to see if it's true. Pay attention to others' reactions to you. If they love you, they love you. They're not going to hurt you. Slow down on your own reactions. Take the
Mm-hmm.
time and slow down on your own actions. And like Melissa said, thank you for joining us. We went over, but it was a good topic. And we hope that it enlightens you, that it edifies you. And we will see you next Friday. Thank you for joining on Wine Friday.